campus caliphate popping off as Democrats rally around the arrested mastermind of those anti-Semitic protests that terrorized Jewish students across Ivy Leagues last year. His name, Mahmoud Khalil. He's the Israel-hating former Columbia student who's been whipped up brainwashing pro-Hamas students as they ransacked buildings and set up encampments. Trump yanking his student visa, ICE arresting him and holding him in a facility in Louisiana as they look to deport him. But a judge blocked his deportation. Fox has learned Khalil was previously investigated as a potential national security threat. Investigators also found anti-Semitic and hateful posts on his social media. President Trump putting other agitators on notice.
I think we ought to get them all out of the country. They're troublemakers. They're agitators. They don't love our country. We ought to get them the hell out. I watched them. I watched tapes. Specifically, I watched tapes. And you can have them, okay? You can have them. And you can have the rest of them.
And shocker, the Democrats are siding with the pro-terror agitators.
If you believe in constitutional rights, if you understand that they're targeting this person, and everyone knows he has been very vocal against the genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza, and they're targeting him and refusing him constitutional rights, who's next?
All right, so Jessica, is this one of those things where, like, the whole country wants this guy booted and the Democrats stick up for him?
I'm not sure it's quite that extreme. I have seen conservatives, I think Ann Coulter wrote, I basically want to deport everyone, but I need to know what the crime is that he committed. And the Secretary of State does have the power to revoke a green card if there's a legal basis for doing that. So I think, they're going to need to prove their case, but I certainly don't want this guy to become the poster child for the Democratic Party. I saw the Senate Judiciary Dems tweeted out a picture and saying, like, free him. That seems extreme. And this guy, he is chosen to align himself with a group that is holding Americans hostage. Yep. And that feels like a national security threat to me. And that certainly feels like someone who doesn't really want to be part of the American fabric. And he is married to an American. She is 8 months pregnant. That's serious. He's part of a community here. He is. He's married to an American. That matters, Judge. But
you'll hear from me. Don't worry about me.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. The judge says you'll hear from her.
All right. Here's the thing. He's been in this country 2 years. He's not part of the American family. Fabric. So let's start with that. Mahmoud Khalil is subject to deportation on many grounds, and not the least of which is the section of law that Marco Rubio, as Secretary of State, has the power to deport him. And that is, it is INA Section 237, subdivision A4C. And all that says is you don't have to be convicted of a crime. You don't even have to be charged with a crime, Jessica. The Secretary of State has the power to remove this guy, whether he's got a green card, whether he's got a visa, whether he's, as he alleges, is a permanent legal resident because he married an American. None of that matters under this section of law. And let's be real clear about something else. They could have done it on other statutes as well because of his support for a foreign terrorist organization. He could be deported for that. And all this nonsense that's going on in the Southern District of New York, where Mahmoud Khalil says that the habeas corpus, his body, should be brought to New York out of Louisiana. He has no right to be brought to New York. This is theater, because under this INA statute, it is a non-justiciable issue. That means that the decision is made outside of the civil courts. So let's not kid ourselves and make this guy out to be some hero, while the Democrats couldn't even crack a smile for DJ Daniels or Jocelyn Nungary.
This guy's a bad hombre, Dana, but Columbia, they could have done a lot more than they did when this thing broke.
For them, oh, right. I mean, and they've paid a price. They won. They lost the $400 million, $400 million. But they also, the president had to resign. And also what they've lost in terms of credibility, and the students who are upset they don't want to go there anymore, the alumni who don't want to be a part of it anymore, the reputational damage of the school, they are in really bad, they have really bad problems. I'm fascinated to watch this legal argument play out. I'm not a lawyer. I just don't even pretend to be one on TV. But I would say this from a comm standpoint, the White House and the Justice Department are saying they have legitimate national security concerns. And to the extent that they can, they should show their work a little bit more. Give Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, just a little bit more so that she can explain that. Now, we're going to get that tomorrow morning in the hearing, but if you're going to put her out there, she's going to have some more information, and she deserves to get that. And press secretaries don't leak, so don't worry about that. The other thing is, from a political perspective, it's kind of fascinating to see these Senate Democrats who, they couldn't even say Laken Riley's name. And now you have Tlaib, who just put out a tweet that Kate just sent to me. She said she's joining 13 colleagues in a letter. 13. I would be so embarrassed. I would never even admit that there were only 13 people that agreed with me.
Greg, it'd be interesting to see if this guy got any money to foment these protests and who we got the money from.
Follow the money. I just came up with that phrase.
That's pretty good.
Good
Could
one.
be the name for a show as well. If they deport him, they got to send him to Gaza. Don't they? Don't they? But, you know, it goes back to, why do the Democrats always choose the worst hills to die on? They can't see the forest for the activists. You know, they can't see the big picture, either because they've got some kind of obvious derangement syndrome. They hate the West. So they react to the hyper reaction of the extremist faction who, given their whims, would destroy us. There is a paradox with the United States. You know, the freedoms of our country allow for people to preach the end of our freedoms. You know, you can live in this country as a citizen and hate this country. However, the Dems allow themselves to be gamed. And I think they've been taken over by a force that sees the West as intrinsically evil. So you see MSNBC and CNN and the Democrats, they so quickly want to investigate and smear Trump supporters and average working Americans who go to school board meetings, but they choose to not just remain silent, but to cheer the most destructive forces in society, which are the people that are out there and probably paid. I'm sure he's seen some USAID money there. But again, you can deport him. He doesn't have to be a criminal. And I believe the First Amendment doesn't protect against speech that supports material aid to terrorism. That's what I have to say. Maybe he should get a work visa from MSNBC. Have they replaced Joy Reid yet?
I believe it's a rotational cast.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he could have a new job soon. So you guys want to deport Musk and keep Khalil. Got it, Jessica. Free Khalil. Coming up, a socialist in the Lion's Den, AOC, rallies red district voters against Trump.